face in the fiery ring, bound by wild desire. My first car, of course, was Volkswagen, an old one, of course, 6 or 8 years old. I bought him for 800 Deutschmark, yeah, not more. And then later, I changed to Porsche because it was, I'm not a top driver, so yeah, the more I am not able to drive like a Formula One driver, the better must be the car. So I said, I buy a Porsche. Up to my 85th birthday, and then I gave it to my oldest son. He lives in Düsseldorf. Next morning he was here to take They asked me, and I said, no, I have Konkurrenzausschluss. I cannot making the design for two companies which are concurrents. Yeah, and I mentioned it to Werner Niefer. He was in those times he was the boss of Mercedes, and I said the Porsche asked me, and he said, "Please do it." Excuse me. Weidemann. Danke, tschüss. Niefer said that's helping the neighbor, yeah, so do it. And so I made these corrections. I opened the types to make it more readable. I made the weapon new, only small corrections. And it was a very dark red Bordeaux color. So they said, yeah, this is the idea of the old Professor Porsche. Yeah, he had in a dinner in New York, he had a Bordeaux spot on his serviette, and he said, "This is our home color." And I said, "It's too dark." I said, "Do you know the difference between venösen Blut and arteriellen Blut?" Venöses Blut is slow moving, has all bad things with it, and the arterial Blut is flowing quick, has a lot of Sauerstoff. Yeah? What are you producing? This or that? That was the question of that interview from Sonntag Aktuell. Yeah. So what are you teaching? I said, only one thing, Kontenance, Haltung. That's all, attitude. If they have problems, I said, not at your Bildschirm. I have a Bierdeckel. Here. I say here, if you have a problem, zeichne das. Show me your problem. Show me here. Or he said, yeah, there is already something. He said, if you come to a firm, there's also something. They have their own color, they have their own sign, they have their own appearance, yeah. And nevertheless, you have to see what can you make better, what can you make clearer, what gives you a better attitude. Mein Herr, Ihr Kaffee. I was 17 when I became soldier, and I was 27. 10 years later, I came home, 1950. I came home 1950, and I became soldier with 17 years. So I had, of my first 3 decades of my life, I had 1 decade in Russia as fighter and as prisoner of war. I worked stone breaking at the river Volga. It was no problem for me to die by war. But then, as a prisoner, I said, no, not here. Here, I don't die. Here, I don't die. I have had 42 kilos when I came home with 27 years. 42 kilos as a 12 years boy. Yeah. And after the war, I said, I want to learn Handwerk, a craft. And then I said, I've been always good at drawing in the school, always a 1 by drawing, yeah. And then I said, I have to find a profession where this can be used, yeah. And then I took the possibility to become typesetter. Ich bin ein Dienstleister. Ich bin kein Künstler. I'm a serviceman, like a baggage porter at the station. Yeah, nothing else. I am doing a service. And have to go behind me and to think with the head of my client. That's important. It's what Bertolt Brecht also says. Yeah, a writer is good if he can think with other people's head. No free artist, never, because that are 2 things. Either I work for something which has been asked me, or I do freelance work, and freelance is an artist. But I never would work as an artist because I don't believe that I'm so gifted that I can exist from that. Können wir mal Pause machen, ja. There are 3 things. The sign, or the brand. The second is the color, and the third is the typeface. When I start to make a typeface, I take at first the letters which are most often used, and that is E is the most used, N, I, R, S, T, A, D, U. Most often, second most often, third most often, and so on, yeah, in your statue. So I start at first with these types, and then the rest. If I do a Q or a Y, yeah, it's not so important. But this must work and must be readable and must be personal. And then come the capital letters, yeah, the Verlag, yeah, the Verlage, yeah. Hey. I am not a friend of only small letters, which has been in the Bauhaus. Bauhaus designers were small letter writing, and it's not so readable. Capital letters are not readable. making reading slow, very slow. I say always capital letters have to be on the churchyard stone, yeah. Name and date, that's all. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I made a typeface especially for Daimler. The typeface for Daimler is called Corporate A, Corporate S, and Corporate E. There are 3 families which can be used. One is more classic, one is more technic, and one is more quick readable. And they have all the same face. You can take it from one to the other without changing the layout. The layout can stay the same. Either you have one of the 3 families, and that's very economical. The corporate family has 12,500 signs only for the Latin alphabet. For the Latin alphabet, 12,000 is now made in about 40 languages. I'm not able to speak Chinese, but I can look at the proportion and at the rhythm. And then it can be this sort or that sort. I made my corporate family is made in Russian and in Greek. A good typeface has 2 important things. One is the rhythm, and the other is proportion. If rhythm and proportion is good, the typeface looks good, and the type is more readable. And readability is one of the important thing of a typeface, nothing else. I made it more readable, and I designed a typeface which is very at the frontier of readability and not readable. And so I closed it. With my typeface, the Bible has 400 pages less than before. One of the most readable types is the Times of the newspaper, the Times, and the Bible of the Times, in Times, and the Bible in my Biblica was the name, and my Biblica has, if the capital letters are the same height, yeah, just the same, 10 points, yeah. I have 200 signs more on the page than in Times. And the Bible has 4.5 million signs. For an Austrian artist, Günter Bruce, and I bought 64 designs of an opera, die gezeichneten by an Austrian componist. And I made the book that way. The originals are like this here. You can make a coffee table book doing this. So I made it always by opening the page, closing the page, next, opening the page, closing the page, next, opening, closing, next, and so on. And that's to make it more. Always people make this here, reading. Now I am ordering the reader to open every page, to look at it, to close it, and to go to the next page. Often it's only text, and sometimes it's all only design. but he's a very good artist and is now the most expensive artist of Austria. I confess my belonging to Germany. Discipline, punctuality, openness, Kenntnisse erweitern, Wissen, 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 knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. I'm a German and nothing else.